Hello, so we're going to continue with the polymorphism and instance of keyword. If you liked the previous video, give it a thumbs up and please subscribe to my channel so I can keep doing these videos. So at the moment we have our polymorphism example that we did from the previous video, and we have employee, which creates an array of just two objects, and we instantiate both a commission employee and a base plus commission employee. Now I've just added some things here. So we have if current employee is an instance of base plus commission employee, then do this. However, this is also true if current employee is an instance of commission employee. So we have to be really careful using the instance of. The downcasting example here is base plus commission employee, and then we basically cast. This is our casting operator that we used previously in the casting video. I'll link it below. So when you cast something, you have to use particular rules. These are promotion rules within Java. So for instance, it's not recommended to cast a double to an integer because of 1, security constraints, and 2, truncation of integer. There are different variations that you can cast to. They're called promotion rules. You can look them up online. It's pretty straightforward. So you can't cast a Boolean, for instance, because it's not seen as a number in Java. And you can't do a double to an int, but you can do an int to a double. So there are certain things that we can do. In this case, we've got downcasting from current employee, which is going to cast it to the superclass employee. So superclass is going to be the current employee, and then it's casting it to base plus commission employee. So here then we just output our system.out.printf, which is our new base salary with a 10% increase. And we have a 2 precision, again with the 2 precision point because it's default to 6. So if I didn't put in the 2 here, it would just place 6 zeros afterwards, or 6 whatever figures. And then we call the employee.getBaseSalary. So that's quite important because with the instance of, you have to keep in mind that this is true for both base plus commission employee and commission employee, that they're both part of employee. So here then we have our current employee and it's going to take the earnings. So just to point out as well, from the previous, so when we used payroll previously, we used the toString in both commission employee and base plus commission employee, and I had a look at the source and adding our override methods as well, and we have a toString here because it's going to inherit from object. But when we have, because it doesn't extend anything except for, well, object by default. So here we have our string toString, and we use this one, but it polymorphically chooses which one is correct, and that's the point of polymorphism, is that it chooses the correct toString in that case, and it also programs in the general. So you just have to be aware of that as well. So I have my get base salary here, and it just returns base salary. And I have my set base salary here, which is new. I just wrote as well, public, but as we know, void, our setters don't return, they use void, so they don't return anything because they're also called mutator methods. So they set the base salary, and then we assign a 1.0 onto base salary. As we know, base salary is a double, so it's important to use a double then to perform the calculation as well. Or I could also add a 2 here, for instance. So I have my set base salary here, and then when I go back to payroll, I have a get base salary, If I wanted to, I could also use the set, but actually within the set here, we're setting a base salary, which we shouldn't really do, but just for demonstration purposes, it's just to, to show you some of these things. Here we have current employee and it takes earnings. It's also looking at the earnings from employee. So if we hover over it, we've got it's coming from payroll, and if I hover over here, it says double employee earnings. So if you actually use the control button, you can see the actual definition of where it's going. If I go, let's say, to commission employee, and let's say go to get commission rate and click on that as well, it opens up the declaration straight away. It's a really useful thing. If you're using really large programs, it's really useful to be able to do these shortcuts. So when I go back here, the downcasting is we have base plus commission employee that we want to use we want to create a casting of this to assign it to, so if I just make it easier to read maybe, and scroll across the screen, so you can see here we have type base plus commission employee. We're going to call it employee, and we're going to say the current employee is now cast to from employee, which was the superclass, to now the child class or the subclass. So that's really important, is the casting operator. So I'll link that below, obviously. And then here all we do is instantiate our two objects here. We have two elements of employee, and as I said in the previous, which is important, you cannot instantiate a new object of employee because it's abstract and it will give you an error. So you can assign different. So if I wanted to, I could easily do maybe two more of these, and I'm going to go back now and change the definition in a second. So if I have 4, then, and I have another one here, and wait, it's going to, again, with the formats, I'm forever doing that. So if I go back to payroll, then I have percentage here, maybe. Perfect. So I have employees processed polymorphically. Then I have Sue Jones, which is our first constructor that we used here within, if I just move this across here, that we put in Sue and Jones as two different strings, first name, last name, and we put in our social security number. And as we know, that came from the abstract employee first. Then what we did was we used the constructor from the parent class in the subclass. So if I go back here to commission employee, we have first name, last name, social security number. We invoked it with the super keyword. So it recognized that it was coming from employee. And employee has only a constructor of first name, last name, and social security number. So when I go back to commission employee, the only thing actually belong to commission employee are two instance variables. And you can see them here. They're two private ones. So we have two getters here, and we have gross sales and commission rate. So if I go then back to the output, you can see here base salaried Ali Java is the name here that I've put in. Let's bring that down to the next line so you can see it a bit better, and I'll keep this on the screen. And then I just have my extra things belong to base plus commission, which was only one variable, and that was the base plus as well, the base salary, which we also input. It was just one extra thing. So, but it extended commission employee. And so then we had earned, and then we had again this with the new base salary and then earned and then new salary. So here, because we have a for loop that I didn't have to put in a counter, it's really flexible because I just changed the array amount here to 4 elements. I accessed each of those elements using zero base counting 0 to 3, and it iterated through it automatically, which is really nice. So, and then this is current employee, which is referencing employee, is an instance of base plus commission employee. So just be careful with that one. And then we have our casting operator that's used. We output our new base salary. Increase is this amount, which I've already put in, and then employee.get base salary. And then we also say earned current employee and earnings. And then it polymorphically calls the toString and earnings because you have to pick out which one it's associated with. In this case, it's going to be base plus commission employee for earnings, and in the previous case, it was going to be commission employee, and in the previous case, it had no implementation in it, so you can tell when you're reading the code where it's coming from. As well. Okay, so that's instance of. It's an important keyword. It's not really advisable to use in a lot of cases, but we'll come to that as we're going along. And that's it for today. Thanks for watching. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel to keep it going. I need to know if people like it or not. Please give feedback to learncomputerswithali@gmail.com. I'd like to hear from you, or comment below. Okay, thanks for watching.